Good day, students. Today I want to solve problem under trigonometry. It's a very simple question, but you have to study it appropriately. When you are told that it's a right angle triangle, when it comes out in theory, draw your right angle triangle and analyze your question appropriately. Now let's see. The length of the adjacent sides of a right angle triangle are x centimeter, also x minus 1 centimeter, and if it comes out in objective, you can analyze it with diagram likewise, so that it can simplify the question you're about to solve. Okay, now let's see how it looks like. Draw the right angle triangle. Okay, put your representation. This shows that it's a right angle triangle. X minus 1 centimeter. If the length of the hypotenuse is square root of 13 centimeter, this is our opposite, adjacent to this, opposite to this angle. Let's call this angle theta. Is hypotenuse. Using Pythagoras theorem. Okay. Using Pythagoras theorem. What does Pythagoras theorem says? It says that the square of the two smaller adjacent sides, the addition of the square of the two smaller adjacent sides is equal to the square of the longest side. Again, the addition of the square of the two adjacent sides is equal to the square of the longest side. Is that okay? Which is the hypotenuse. Now let's now write it like this. Using a Pythagoras theorem, says that opposite squared plus adjacent squared equals hypotenuse squared. I put this line because it's a line. Now what's the opposite? X squared plus adjacent x minus 1 squared equals hypotenuse square root of 13 squared. And don't forget, this square root is like half, the same thing as half. This square root is the same thing as half. Okay, let's express it. X squared plus x minus 1 twice x minus 1 equals to 13 raised to power half. You put 2 here. I've turned this square root to half. Now let's multiply x minus 1, multiply by x minus 1. X minus 1, x minus 1. X times x, x squared. X times minus 1, minus x. Minus 1 times x, minus x. Minus 1 times minus 1, plus 1. You have x squared. Minus x, that's minus 2x plus 1. Okay, let's bring it back here. X squared plus x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals to 13 raised to power half. These brackets stand as multiplication times 2. 2a1, 2a1. We're having x squared plus x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals to 13. X squared plus x squared is 2x squared. It's like when you are saying 1 naira plus 1 naira will give you 2 naira. This square will still retain the square. Is that okay? In addition, minus 2x plus 1. Take 13 cross to take 13 across the equal sign to this left hand side, you return to minus 13 equal to 0. We have to turn it to quadratic equation so as to solve the problem. 2x squared minus 2x plus 1 minus 13. Like when you have 1 naira and you are owing 13 naira. When you pay 1 naira out of the 13 naira you are owing, you are left with a debt of 12 naira. That is 1 minus 13, that is minus 12. Negative sign shows that we are still owing the money. Is that okay? I'm just using owing and paying as a means of explaining this problem. Okay. Here you have to divide through by 2. You have to reduce the expression to the simplest form. Divide through by 2. We are having 2x squared divided by 2 minus 2x divided by 2 minus 12 divided by 2 equal to 0 divided by 2. Doing that, 2 here 1, 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 2 here 6. Please, I want to explain something. When you're having x squared multiplied by x squared in indices, this multiplication will turn to positive 2 plus 2, which is x raised to power 4. But in the case of x squared plus x squared, we still retain x plus x will be 2x squared. Is that okay? The 2 will not be affected in addition, or in multiplication, the multiplication will turn to positive at the index. Okay. Now you are left with x squared minus x minus 6 equals to 0. Now when you get to this point, the coefficient of x squared is 1. Multiply with the constant minus 6 equal to 0. Sorry, we multiply it with this, you're having minus 6. 1 coefficient of x squared multiplied by the constant minus 6 equal 1 times minus 6 will give you minus 6. You now think of two numbers that when you multiply the two numbers, it will give you minus 6. When you add the two numbers together, it will give you minus x, that is minus 1x. But you don't call it minus 1x, just say minus x. Is that okay? Again, you think of two numbers, when you multiply it together, you get minus 6. And when you add it together, it will give you what's at the middle, which is minus x. What is the number? Since you're having what's at the center, coefficient of x to be negative, make sure that the higher value among the two values you want to bring out will carry negative sign, so that when you're adding it together, it will give you negative value. You're having minus 3 times 2 equals to minus 6. You can still say minus 2 times 3 equals to minus 6. It still give you the same thing. But when you're adding it, minus 2 plus 3 will give you 1. But we're having negative sign here. That's why this one will not go for that. Not go for that. You now have minus 3 plus 2 will give you negative 1, which is we are having negative 1x here. You now replace minus 3 plus 2 at this place. Instead of writing minus x, x squared minus 3x plus 2x, because when you add them together, it will still give you minus x. Minus 6 equals to 0. Now let's factorize. What's common? X is common. Bring it out. It remains 1x minus 3. We have factorized it out. No more x here. Plus what can go in 2 and 6 is 2. Now what's left? X 2 in 6, 3 equal to 0. Okay. Positive times negative give you negative. In the case that you're having negative outside, it will change what's inside, which is negative, to positive. Okay. Now, when you are solving a problem like this, since what is in the bracket they are the same, it means that we are correct. But in a case you are solving it and they are not the same, that means that you are wrong. Now, pick one out of the two. X minus 2, x minus 3, x minus 3, bracket x plus 2 equal to 0. Now, x minus 3 equal to 0 or x plus 2 equal to 0. Let's collect the like terms. X equal to 0 plus 3 or x equal to 0 minus 2. X equals 0 plus 3, that's 3, or x equals to minus 2. Okay, now let's now confirm what we are doing, whether we are going to get this one back. Let's substitute into this place. X minus 3 for the first one. Check, let's check. When x equals to 3, let's bring it back, whether we are going to get the hypotenuse. X minus 1 equals 3 minus 1, which is 2. And also we are having x, when you replace it as this is the adjacent, that's for the adjacent. For the okay, for the adjacent, we are having x minus 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 equals to 2. For the opposite, we are having x to be equals to 3. Now let's now see whether we're going to get square root of 13. Having 2 squared plus 3 squared, which is 4 plus 9. Okay, which is a square root of that, which is 13. Okay, since you are looking for the square root of this, what I'm trying to say here is that we're having expression like this: hypotenuse squared equals to opposite squared plus adjacent squared. You now have it to be, what's opposite? Opposite is 3 squared plus adjacent 2 squared. That is, you now have hypotenuse squared equals to 9. 3 squared is 9 plus 2 squared, that's 4, which is equals to 13. Now hypotenuse, you now look for the square root of both sides. Find the square root of both sides. This square root will cancel these two. Now our hypotenuse now equals to square root of 13. Okay, now when you check when x is minus 2, when x equals to minus 2, for the adjacent, x minus 1 equals minus 2 minus 1, which is minus 3. For the opposite, equals to x equals to minus 2. Now let's now check hypotenuse squared equals opposite squared, opposite squared plus adjacent squared. Hypotenuse squared, what's our opposite? Minus 2 squared plus adjacent minus 3 squared, which minus 2 squared is, forget like this, minus 2 squared is 4, minus 3 squared, that's 9, which is equals to 13. Now find the square root of both sides. 2 cancel the square root. You're having the square root of this. Hypotenuse now equals square root of 13. That means that the two values are correct. X equals to 3 or x equals to minus 2. This is the end of our class. Please subscribe to my channel so that you can have access to the latest video. Have a wonderful day.